Okay, so this is our last example before we move into our group work. So I'm going to ask that you pause the video and try some of these things by yourself. So remember, the first thing we need to do is identify the slope and the y-intercept of this graph. So go ahead, pause the video right now, see if you can do that, and come back to see if you got it correct. Okay, so if I'm finding the slope of this graph, again, right now, it's probably easier and faster for me to just count. I was looking for the points. Okay, so I see a point there, and the next point I see is down here, way at the bottom. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So down 5 and over 3. So this looks like it was like the last one, except this one's negative. So our slope here is a negative 5 over 3. And now I'm looking for our y-intercept. So it's actually right here, and this point is 0, 0. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my slope-intercept form. If you remember it, write it down. It's y equals mx plus b. What I want you to do now is pause the video and see if you can plug in our x and our y-intercept and our slope where it belongs. So hopefully you pause the video and you got y equals negative 5/3 x plus 0. Okay, and that's our equation. This is our slope-intercept form equation. We're done with this part. The next part is to write it in standard form. So let's copy this down. Y equals negative 5/3 x plus 0. I'm going to hang on to the 0 for a while, and you'll understand at the end why we do that. Okay, what I want you to do is pause the video and try to see if you can get this in standard form on your own. If you can't, then come back and watch the video. Okay, first thing we need to do is get rid of any denominators, and we have one, which is 3. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. When I do that, I get 3y equals negative 5x plus 0 still. The next thing I want to do is I want to move the x term. So here's our x terms, it's negative, so I'm going to add 5x to both sides. So I know that I can't really add 3y and 5x together, so I just write it down. 5x plus 3y equals 0. And now the last part is that you cannot have a negative x, but if I look at my x, it's not negative, so we're actually done. So what you've taken is you've started with a graph, you found the slope and the y-intercept, that lets you write it in slope-intercept form, and then using your algebra skills, you were able to write it in standard form.